once again live from the exhibition floor here at AUSPAC 2022, and you're listening to or viewing the AUSPAC Files. And for this episode, I'm joined by Mark Leenders. Mark, you're the Professor of Business at RMIT, so you've obviously worked quite a bit to establish your credentials and built up a lot of experience. How long have you been with RMIT?
I'm now at RMIT for 10 years, or about. Before that, originally I'm Dutch, from the Netherlands. I've been a professor in the Netherlands, also in the UK and the US, in Canada actually, and since 10 years in Australia. Wow. I'm located in the city campus of RMIT, on the corner of Russell and Victoria Street. Okay,
and I understand you do quite a bit of business-related studies and so on there.
Yeah, so my area of expertise is marketing and innovation. I've been doing a lot of studies on the food supply chain and food innovation, among others. And recently we've been working with Fight Food Waste, CSC. And we've done a large project in cooperation with APMA.
Okay. And I believe that's what's led to the report that you've got with you.
Yeah, so we published a report late last year. And basically that is a sector analysis of how processing and packaging machinery suppliers and companies and organizations are contributing to food waste reduction in the food supply chain. So it's a very, I think, topical area. It relates, of course, to sustainability. It relates to innovation, market development, and really get a handle of how the industry is actually contributing to this complex and important problem, which is food waste.
Yeah, it's not a simple, just make this one little change. There's so many factors, aren't there?
Yeah, so that's what we knew from the start. It is a complex phenomena that basically occurs throughout the supply chain and in the household, of course. There's some new figures out that basically in Australia alone, there's $36 billion wasted.
Wow.
And half of that is in the household. And the other half is basically in the larger food supply chain. Okay. So it's a massive opportunity as well as a problem.
Yeah. So how long were you conducting the research?
So as all good studies, you have to time your start right. So we started when COVID hit. And APMA have been brilliant to really, to commit to the research, get it started, even while we had to go into lockdown and out of lockdown and into a lockdown. We have been engaging with APMA, with the members organizations, and really we have been trying to collect data to see where the sector is at, and also track and trace to see how the impact is actually established and how that can actually feed in back to innovation decisions that the companies are doing in this sector.
Okay, so can you step us through the large sections at a high level of the report?
Yeah, so we've been working with a team of about 7 to even at some stage we had 9 researchers doing multiple things. We went to a global literature analysis and see what is being published in processing packaging in relation to food waste. So that was a large effort in coding everything, seeing where the gaps are, what do we know. Then we did a survey among member organizations. And normally you get, this was an online survey, very easy to do. You can do it on your telephone as well. And normally you get 5% response rate, but APMA really engaged the members as well. So we got almost 40%.
Wow.
Somewhere between 35. I would say 35% is a good estimate of the response rate effectively. And then we engaged with specific companies to see what they were trying to do, how successful they were with that, and what the opportunities are to actually improve the impact of what they're doing.
Right. Okay. And you also pointed out that about half the wastage occurs in the home. So were you engaging with any householders?
We basically looked at the whole supply chain, including the household. We have not been interviewing and researching households because that's other part of the CSC are basically very much focusing on that, engaging with them, understanding how food is being purchased, how it is being stored. We have been working with retailers and also how the retail is actually engaging with customers. But from farm to household, I think we have been researching. And I think the findings are quite interesting. It's quite interesting to see what the sector is already doing and what they are trying to achieve going forward.
Are you able to give us a quick summary of what the findings have been?
So we find that what's very interesting about the processing and packaging and machinery suppliers is that they are have an indirect relationship with the food supply chain. So that means that they are not in control of the food and the product and the flow, but they have a very important impact on the opportunity to reduce food waste and do it more productively, and to get the product better to where it needs to be in the end. So it's almost 2/3 of the companies in this sector are actually stating that they are achieving measurable impact on food waste reduction.
Fantastic.
The challenge they have is that it requires a lot of innovation. It requires collaboration with the food supply chain. There's also other players that need to pitch in to bring services and products together, and then create a maximum impact, and also measure that impact so that that can be brought in investment decisions in the future, because you actually understand what the impact is on food waste, which is often hard to track and trace in a sense.
Yeah, no, I could imagine that would involve a lot of analysis and assessment and so on. And anything else you'd like to say about the report while you're here?
So in terms of the report, I think there's the report can be found at the APMA exhibit. So they're available there. You can just pick one. So because we look at the marketing and innovation interface in this, how can we actually stimulate innovation and get better outcomes out of all this investment, all this attention for food waste? It is clearly connected to sustainability, but it's also a little bit different. Food waste reduction, I think, is the social component, the environmental component, but also the economic component. So many of the players in this sector basically understand that sustainability and food waste reduction doesn't have to hurt the bottom line.
Right.
But there are some barriers. So one of the barriers is, how do you create value propositions? How do you collaborate more? Because there's already collaboration there. And how do you use government and policies better in order to stimulate food waste reduction efforts and also innovation?
Okay.
Leadership development in the sector. So identifying who are the leaders for the future? How can we develop them better? How do we create circular approaches to leadership and understanding of circular processes? That is important going forward, I think, where this sector is going to be playing a key role for food waste reduction.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Well, it sounds like a very comprehensive and well worth reading report for anyone in the industry.
I think so. I think it's been a study of more than a year.
Yeah.
Really industry engaged and industry focused. APMA has played a brilliant role in facilitating it, connecting us to case studies. So we have very detailed information as well about how to, for example, reduce or increase shelf life of blueberries, for example. And ultimately that leads to lower food waste. But how to bring that information back to where you have to basically bring those technologies to customers is where I think it all matters. So that's what we're trying to do. The report is available, and I think this conference, we really call it a field configuring event because it creates connections, it creates relationships, and I think through APMA and through facilitating this platform, putting food waste on the agenda, and also collaborating with the CSC food waste, I think sets up for new initiative that in the future will actually make a difference. So we're very excited about it.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I guess Professor Mark Leenders, thank you very much for coming on the show, and congratulations on the report. And here's hoping it leads to some great innovation that helps further reduce food waste.
Thank you for having me. And let's reduce food waste.
We can only hope. Well, that's it for this issue. We'll be back soon with another discussion on the AUSPACK files. So stay tuned to this channel.